Minecraft 1.20 is fast approaching, but what smaller things have been added? That's what we're exploring today, so let's do it. And be sure you let me know in the comments what feature you're most excited for. In a 10 seed farm, with the sniffer winning the mob vote of 2022, we also now have the possibility of getting new plants. And not just any form of plants actually, specifically ancient ones, given that the sniffer is apparently an ancient creature, according to the video that was introducing the mob. Although apparently Jeb thought that it was a chicken, the sniffer is simply just an ancient mob that was thought to be extinct. But they're plant lovers and can find seeds for you by sniffing the ground, meaning that there are going to be quite a few interesting farms that we can make. And given that they said and maybe even get some new plants if the community votes for the sniffer and then the community voted for the sniffer, this means that having a load of sniffers in a pen with like hopper minecarts underneath can possibly result in the coolest seed farm ever. But also, this will only work if they find the seeds and then they drop onto the ground as entities, since if they hold them in their mouths kind of like a fox would, you can't really take those automatically. We'll know more once the mob is actually implemented into the snapshots, but until then, this could be cool. And also, if you like the 1.20 coverage, be sure you hit like so that we know that you do. In a 9, splash water. Splash water bottles have always been pretty useless, honestly, outside of maybe roleplay. They didn't really do anything and were only there as sort of like a mistake, like if you screwed up making a potion, or maybe you just used them to freak out your friends, like with a dispenser or maybe thinking there was a witch. However, 1.20 has actually added smaller changes to combat. One of these features is splash water bottles putting out entities that are on fire. This includes mobs, any animal, or any monster, but also the player. So, while you may not have like a water bucket with you, you can end up actually putting yourself out using a splash water bottle, if you have one of those instead. Well, I mean, like, of course it does, you idiot, I can hear you saying that. But the game-changing part about this, and why I wanted to include it on this list, is that this also works inside the nether. Not only does it put out mobs and the player, but it also puts out fire, meaning that we actually have a way to fight fires as well. And like, that isn't just like punching wildly and fighting against the horrifying water physics when you're in a panic. So yeah, we can put ourselves out in the nether, we can bring water into the nether with these, and we can actually fight fire. So yeah, pretty dope. In a 8, creative inventory. Minecraft's creative mode is well known for its inventory screen, which now allows players to use nearly any block in the game without having to collect it. However, it hasn't always been the easiest feature to work with due to just the way the blocks have been organized in the past. Originally, like, the menu actually just looked like the MISC tab, or honestly it looked like the search tab and it was just one long sheet. Yeah, it was rough. However, it seems like Mojang has heard our pleas and actually is updating the updated menu as well. Tabs have been reworked to better reflect the items that are contained within them. Blocks made of specific materials have been clustered together within the lists themselves, meaning that all of the wood types are together, all of the glass are together, all the minerals are together, stuff like that. Some blocks that have multiple functions are in multiple tabs, meaning that you don't have to go to the redstone tab to get, let's say, a trapdoor, but you still can. And the search tab is also grouped like these tabs, like with all the woods together, etc. They also keep all of the items within certain tabs together. They're also adding a whole load of new things, like the debug stick is being added to the creative inventory, all the light blocks are being added, command blocks, command block minecarts, structure blocks, just a lot of stuff that you had to use commands for is now being added into a optional operator tab. So yeah, this is a pretty cool decision, and now all we need is more actual survival slots. In at 7, new default skins. Originally, Minecraft only had one default skin, that being Steve, and then they added Alex, but in Bedrock there are like also multiple skin packs that allow you to pick from a whole slew of characters, even though you can also make your own. However, Minecraft 1.20 is releasing new default skins as showcased in the trailer at Minecraft Live. Alex and Steve's skins will be joined by a whole host of new default skins that aim to represent a wider range of people, and 3 of those new skins, Sunny, Effie, and Noor, actually first debuted in the trailers for the Wild update, and the other new skins are Machina, Kai, Ari, and Zuri. They'll all be available through Minecraft Launcher and the dressing room, and 3D artist Chiwong during Minecraft Live said, quote, "These skins are a wonderful collaboration within the company. We really care about feeling represented in Minecraft, and I think that with these skins we did that. Some say that these skins will be available on November 29th, but I think that I actually saw them now, or maybe that was just a teaser, so just check the launcher, and if you don't see them, wait until the 29th. In at 6, bug fixes. There are also multiple bug fixes, not only for the snapshot features themselves, but but also just in general for the game. Opening a shulker box with a torch or another block that requires support on it will now actually break the supported item, meaning that opening shulkers can now be a way to trigger traps using more basic redstone. You don't actually need an observer or a comparator anymore, all you need is a redstone torch. Along with a whole load of others, but then again, these are smaller things, okay? There's nothing major bug fixes wise that really needs to be talked about in detail, and I'm also pretty sure that you don't really care anyway, so for the sake of retention, moving on. Halfway through into number 5, chat updates. There are also multiple changes to chat for servers in the latest snapshot. I mean, I don't know why there would be changes to chat for single player, because that's not really a thing, but oh well. The chat preview has been removed. Chat messages deleted by server mods are now no longer hidden, but are replaced with text stating that the chat message has been deleted by the server. Deleted chat messages are now displayed in the chat for 3 seconds before being hidden. The chat trust status indicators have been tweaked. The modified tag no longer is displaying for server modified messages if only the style of the message was changed. The modified tag icon is also now a dark gray, and the not secure tag for links is now a light gray and doesn't use an icon. And partially filtered chat messages now show the filtered text as gray hashes with a hover over top saying that it was filtered. Nothing, again, major, but that's the point of this list, so yeah, this belongs here. In at 4, automatic book sorter. An interesting change to chiseled bookshelves as well means that now, since they're compatible with hoppers, we can have like automatic book sorting. So you'll be able to have a bookshelf that is exclusively enchanted books, given that you use like the allay method of sorting. Because like in reality, you can have a bookshelf for each kind of enchantment in the game, which is kind of a cool way to actually show how much of a certain book type you have. Like you can walk in and visually see how many mending books you have from like your villager trading farm this way. And that's a pretty freaking sweet thing, if you ask me, okay? It's a lot of work, but it's sweet, okay? That would be dope. I don't really know what other like reason you'd have to set chiseled bookshelves up with hoppers. I don't know, maybe a self-filling library. I'm not really all that sure. Be sure you let me know your ideas in the comments, but it's still pretty dope. Getting close to the end of number 3, monster spawners. Monster spawners have now also gotten an update, interestingly enough. Seemingly only working for, or I guess being effective for creative mode, spawners no longer have a default mob spawn type when placed by a player. Previously it was the pig, but now there's none. Spawners will also not emit fire particles when a mob spawn type has not been defined. Spawners have now been renamed to Monster Spawner to match Bedrock Edition, which sucks because screw Bedrock. And they've also removed the purple text color of the block. Pick a block now also works for spawner blocks, and you can actually like do it with the type of spawner that it is. So if you do it with a skeleton spawner, you get a skeleton spawner. And the mob type is now also displayed in the hover description of a spawner item stack. But if a mob type has not been defined yet, the hover description will describe how to set it. So not really useful to survival players overall, or at all, but it's definitely something cool for map makers, since we won't really need to be using NBT editing tools, MC Editor, or another third-party source to get spawners that we actually want, unless it's a custom mob, I think. I'm not really sure on that. And we also might not need an extreme command line with like 100+ characters to actually get the spawn block that we want. So yeah. But ultimately, in at number 2, spawn eggs. Spawn eggs have also gotten quite a few updates, including adding new spawn egg items for the Ender Dragon, Iron Golem, Snow Golem, and Wither to creative mode, which is pretty good considering how most of these, well, aside from the dragon, we actually had to build the structure of the mob in order to spawn it. The Ender Dragon and Wither spawn eggs, however, will only be available through commands to prevent accidental destruction of player builds, which I mean doesn't really do much, since you can still build the Wither, but I don't know, maybe it'll make it more difficult, and at least you can't spawn the Ender Dragon. Polar Bear spawn egg colors have also been changed to distinguish it from the ghast spawn egg, which I think is a good thing, but also, like, was that really that big of a problem? Like, were people complaining about accidentally spawning ghasts when they wanted polar bears? Like, was this an epidemic that I just didn't know about, or like just something that they were like, oh yeah, we should change that more? Because from my memory, the polar bear spawn eggs were like white and then slightly gray, whereas ghast eggs were white and then like a pinkish gray for the spots, which I could easily tell the difference for, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. And you know, the name of the item saying polar bear and ghast helps. And finally, in at number 1, explosion resistance. This change is also pretty damn cool. The fact that shields now block 100% of explosion damage is a pretty solid change, meaning that now you won't have to take any hearts of damage if you block a creeper explosion or a TNT explosion or even an end crystal, whereas previously I'm pretty sure you would still take some damage, however it was greatly reduced. Now, you don't take any. And for those who don't believe me because they were also wearing full Prot 4 netherite armor, here's a quote from the wiki. Most block projectiles that carry status effects such as shulker bullets, Java edition only, flaming arrows, or tipped arrows do not affect the blocker. Tridents and arrows can be deflected onto other targets, knockbacks from melee attacks and projectiles is prevented, while knockback from explosions, hoglins, and ravager attacks are significantly reduced. They cannot block TNT that the blocking player lit themselves, Java edition only, and TNT that a redstone mechanism lit, Java edition only. If you want to know more than just the smaller stuff, check out the video about the big updates, alright? It's on your screen now. Thanks for watching.